Hi, everyone. Welcome. Join us at World Without Borders, the podcast. And first and foremost, welcome. Good to have you all with us. And thank you so much for all the subscriptions coming through and the engagement, the likes, the shares. We are seeing it happen. And thank you so much for all the feedback we're getting about our episodes as well. So, first and foremost, let me thank Susie and Renata for joining us again, my fellow hosts. Susie, do you want to introduce yourself first and just tell everyone where you calling in from?
Hello, guys. I am Susie. I am hosting the World Without Borders podcast. I am talking from with you from Kentucky, USA, but I am originally from Cameroon.
Hi everyone, so my name is Renata Anderson. I am originally from Brazil and I live in Portland, Oregon in the United States.
Awesome. Good to be here with you guys. And I am Megan from Cape Town, South Africa. Looking forward to chatting a bit today. And we've got an interesting topic today, guys. We're going to be talking about cultural appropriation. So, people adopting the culture of certain groups and others being offended by that when it becomes a negative thing, right? So I'd like to have your feeling on that because there's a lot. I know Susie's from Africa, I'm from Africa, Renata's originally from South America, and there's so much culture ingrained in all of us and in all of our countries, and so many different groups and segments of culture that we share across the spaces we come from. So there's a lot of sharing going on, guys. There's a lot of claiming going on in that space. So can I have, let's start with Susie again, and just give me your input around how you see this in your world.
So first of all, I want us to start by defining what cultural appropriation is. That word itself, I think it depends on the people that talk about it. I will really focus on the people. Why? Because if I'm from a country and you're using my culture, I love you. That means my culture can be expanded and my culture is appreciated. That's my point of view. Like if you want to wear an afro, I would love us to have afro together. That means you like my hair. You're not insulting my hair. You're like, I love it. I want. If you do not like it, you will not have want to have it on you. The fact that you want to have it on you, for me, saying that you like my culture, you like what I'm from, where I'm from, and what I'm doing. For me, I appreciate it a lot. So for me, cultural appropriation is not an insult. It is an appreciation, and for me, it's a praise to my culture. So, as I said, when we start with that definition of what cultural appropriation is and all about it, in Cameroon, let's go back to where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If you are not from Cameroon and you wear dresses from Cameroon, oh, you are praised. You are praised because we are like, she's foreign, but she does respect our culture. This is somebody we have to respect. This is somebody that deserves our admiration and respect. So that is how we look at it. And that's the point of view we go when it comes to like appropriating culture. But now there is a very huge difference when you start traveling abroad or to various country or continent. Things are just so different. And sometimes by ignorance, I would say it's ignorance. I'm not accusing anybody, but sometimes by ignorance, we think that it is offensive for us, for somebody to wear our dresses that says from Cameroon or to wear something that is from our culture. So sometimes we find it offensive in those culture. We find it offensive for those people to do so, but it's really a point of view. I can say that I don't find it any way offensive. And I was talking with my Megan and Renata, my friends earlier, and I was telling them that in my wedding, I want to wear a Nigerian traditional dress, and they were like, "It's not a Cameroonian culture," but no, I love the traditional dress, and I can wear it. If I want to wear it, I can wear it.
Yeah.
And it will not be any offensive to any Nigerians that I wear that dress. Actually, they'll be like so proud to say, okay, you see, she might be from Cameroon, from the French and from the French section of Cameroon. We don't wear such dresses
Right.
for our weddings. But I decided to like this. If I'm getting married, marriage, I'm gonna wear my clothes. So it's that point of view.
Thank you, Susie, for jumping in with that. And yes, you make a really important point that it depends on the individual and how they see it, where they're coming from and how they accept or take that on. But what I want to throw into to that part of the conversation, I tend to think that we need to be really sensitive about certain parts of others' cultures. Most particularly, in my opinion, it would be the traditions, right? Because if you are not experienced enough, you don't know enough about it, you haven't practiced it, it's really difficult to be fully respectful of it.
Mm.
And so I find often that is where a lot of the clash comes in. You know, being able to adapt your hair to match a country you're in and wearing their traditional clothes. It's a lot more materialistic, but I think the tradition runs a lot deeper than that and touches a lot more sensitivity in people. So I just wanted to throw that in there and play the devil's advocate with what you put out there, because I think there are areas where I stand back and I go, why are they getting upset about this, right? If it's clothing or it, I'm just one of those people that really doesn't bother me to a great extent. But I think when it comes to disrespecting or not giving enough respect to somebody's traditions, and we need to remember that is something that guided their life cycle, literally guided their lifestyle, their life cycle. So I think we tend to not recognize always that we need to be a lot more sensitive with certain parts of this, especially.
Yeah. Wow. I think culture can live in harmonious ways, like uh, we were discussing before, and I want to bring that here. Like when I take some culture as an example, for example, for example,
Yes.
it's when I appropriate, it's not like, oh, you have like a phone and I take it for you, and now it's my phone and you have no phone anymore. Culture is not like that. Culture is it's like you can take it and it's going to be there, so that's how I see, like, and as as a foreign in so many countries that I live it in. So I agree with Susan. I'm just going to wear or use and embrace things that it means something to me, that I like it. And
Yes.
when we show that, we show as an appreciation, like, oh my god, I never thought about that, but that's so cool, I'm going to do that too. Why
Yeah.
not? Like it I think it's a little bit like that. It's not that we want to pretend that we are something that we are not, but um, but show appreciation, and
Yeah.
and and it's possible to bring harmony in this
Yeah.
mix of
Yes.
cultures. No, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that point that you talk about mix of culture. So now it is very difficult to keep a specific culture when you're from mixed background. Like if, for example, you're from Germany and your other family is from France. In France, they do things differently. In Germany, they
Yes.
do things differently. So you're a mixture of both, and you don't even know any tradition in any way. And then maybe you find yourself growing up in Congo, for example, a country, another country, Nigeria. Okay, you find yourself growing up in Nigeria, and now Nigeria has a specific way of doing things and speaking. Because you grew up there, you became like them,
Yes.
like a Nigeria, but you're not a Nigerian. You know, nobody can ever say that that's cultural appropriation, because what we do as human being, the characteristic of a human being is to adapt. Most human beings, we adapt according to the circumstance in which we are. If they throw you now in the US, for example, before you know, 2 years later, you're speaking like somebody from the US, or start saying words as somebody that lived in the US your whole life, but this because you were in the context, and as a human being, our first characteristic is adapt to survive
Yes.
way before adapting to do anything. So you start adapting to survive. Same, and we have to open our mind and our soul to this perspective that things like this happen. So if,
Yeah.
for example, I go to Brazil or maybe to India, wearing a sari will not be a shame. In India, it's not a shame. Wearing a sari, traditional, it's not a shame. But as soon as I take the plane back to Cameroon, wearing that sari is a public disgrace for me and my whole family that I'm showing my body out. You
Oh.
know what I mean? But I always respect the Indian. I am in India. We do things the
Yes.
way the Indian does the things.
Mm,
Because I respect the India culture. I am not appropriating myself any culture. I respect the India culture. If you have to wear sari, if I love sari, I'm gonna wear it.
mm,
But when I go to Cameroon, I know
Yeah.
that if I try wearing that sari, it's a disgrace to my whole family because according to cultures, we don't show your body out.
mm,
I'll make sure I don't wear things that will make my family think that I'm a whole disgrace for their whole generation, and dress appropriately
mm,
Yes.
as a human being, because what am I doing? I'm adapting to my
mm,
environment. So I don't think cultural appropriate, except somebody is mocking at your culture. Then
Yes.
that I don't call cultural appropriation. You are literally mocking at the culture. You're not trying to make it part of you, but you're trying to make it a disgrace. Like if you like something, you will never. If you like something, you always want to make it part of you. But if you hate something, you will not even want to appropriate the things. So
mm,
for me, the fact
Right.
that you're even thinking
Yeah.
mm,
of appropriating my culture, that means my culture is really good. That is
Yes.
attracting you that much to be in. And as a human being, I love it. I appreciate it adapting because we travel from east to west. Before you know, today you're in Nigeria, tomorrow you're in India, tomorrow you're in France. Because of the travels, you have lost all the roots. Like you don't even know who is who again and who is Mary, who is John. Mary has mixed with John, and everything has become like a mixture. And then you see, even in that loss, you see people still going back to their root. You see some
Yes.
people still wearing back their traditional dresses in public, in places. I'm like, when I see somebody wearing my culture in public, I am like, hey, this is where I come from. This is
Yeah.
where I come. I'll be so proud to tell everybody that, hey, this is that dress. That dress is from my culture, and I love it. You look amazing in it. How can we
Yeah.
make it last longer? What how can our children keep it going? And the only way to
Yes.
keep it going is to be able to be volunteering in sharing that culture with others.
mm,
That
Yes.
it should not end with you and just die. Because if our fathers were selfish as most of us, that culture, we will not even know about it. The
Right.
only reason we know about it is because they were open to share. Say this is how we
Yes.
pray in our land. This is how we practice in our land. And I'm like, okay, I want to know how do you honor the ancestors in your land?
mm,
In our land, they said they have their very very different way of honoring the ancestors. They have their very different way of honoring the elders. For example, us, we have to, like, there's some cultures you have to bow down before the elders. If I go
Yes.
to India, I'm bowing down before every elders I see, because
Oh,
that is how India. That doesn't mean I am taking the culture of India, because me bowing down in front of the elder will not rob the culture from India
yeah,
or rob them from the bowing down culture. Or
yes.
me wearing a sari will not ban sari in the whole of India. You know what I
Right.
mean?
yeah,
Right. I love your take on this, Susie. I love the fact that it's about highlighting the appreciation and the taking on what you appreciate and like about something and revering that. But I also just wanted to sort of, in a way, pull together what Renata mentioned earlier and what you were saying a bit earlier as well. The adaptation process, if you get into a different space than your usual and you adapting to survive, as you put it, I think it's also a nice perspective, a really positive perspective that I see in that is looking for a way to connect with someone from a different culture, right? It's about recognizing the beauty and the worth in something that they're doing or something that they're wearing or the way they do things, and then finding that it appeals to you, as Renata said, and then wanting to connect with that And I think that's another really baseline human quality, is that connection with others, right? And it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter where you're traveling. That's a baseline human quality, is wanting connection. So I think that's just something that popped into to my head while you two were putting your thoughts forward, and I thought that's an important point I think we need to look at here. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I remember when I first went to Amazon, and I went to visit some tribes in the jungle. That I was the first no indigenous person that they ever saw, and I stayed with them the first time for 30 days. When I came back, I went for a dinner with my boss, and she was an amazing nurse and very uh, wise. And I was like so depressed. I was like, oh my God, everything my parents taught me was wrong. Everything I saw in the
Mm.
school was wrong because look how they live, blah, blah, blah. Because it was a huge culture shock.
Yes.
And so there was no electricity, no bed, no pillow, no, we live in the jungle with the nature. And she just looked at me and she said, Renata, na- now on in your life, you're going to do one thing, as a favor for me. You're going to keep the things that you appreciate and you think it's going to serve you in your life, but you cannot deny your own culture because there
Yes.
is no wrong or right about that. It's like what it works for you, you know.
Yes.
And some values I bring up until today in my heart, in my life, that I learned from this experience. And it was a um, beautiful way she treated me, because after that I worked with so many other cultures, and I always have that in mind. Okay,
Yes.
there's no right or wrong, and I can keep the things that, oh, I like this, and
Yes.
I'm going to like, for example, I drink a lot of tea, and Brazilians drink much more coffee. Like here, in even the simple things, like in the US, people eat pizza with their hands. In Brazil, if you go to a restaurant to eat a pizza and you eat with your hands, everybody's going to look at you like, why
Wow.
why you're
Oh,
eating
wow.
with hands? So this is a silly thing that nobody, oh, that doesn't hurt anybody, the way
Yes.
you eat your pizza. But when we talk about, for example, the way we treat our hairs, in the African culture, and especially in this movement outside of Africa, from Black people, like here in the US, in Brazil. If I pretend to be an African, I'm going to hurt a lot of people in my country. And I was like, this is not the idea either. So today, as we are going to talk about this, I bring here my color from Johannesburg. I was like, oh, Megan, look at that. I have it and I think it's beautiful. So why make a problem with everything? So I think this for me is too much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I stand on that point with you and say, if you are really from the culture, it will never offend you that somebody else does the same thing your culture says. Never. That is my point of view. It's like, if I am from a culture, if I do this, because sometimes me, I fast with the Muslims. I am not a Muslim.
Mhm.
I know nothing about the Quran or Muhammad. I know nothing about it. I'm a Christian 100%. But I
Yes.
can sit with my friends that are Muslim, never judge them. It's your religion. You choose what you
Yes.
want to choose. And sometimes I read the Bible to them and they read the Quran to me. And I was like, there was something that Quran said that my Bible forgot, omitted to say about like this. And then they were like, oh, there is something the Bible mentioned that the Quran didn't mention. And it doesn't make them change to want to be a Christian, and it doesn't make me ever want it to be a Muslim. But it
Yes.
makes me know I honor this culture. Anyway, I honor them. Whether you wear an because all of them wear hijab. How do they call it? Hijab?
Just Egypt. Yes.
Yeah, they all wear an hijab. I honor them when they're with the girls. They remove. They have wonderful hairs, and I'm the one brushing the hair. And if the hijab want to fall in public, I'm the one running to say, "Please put the hijab back." You have to always wear your hijab. This is your culture, and I honor it deep within my soul. There is nothing I will ever do to make you go out of that space. I don't wear hijab. But if they sometime when we are praying, they put hijab on my head, I was like, hey, I look like a Muslim, oh, but I'm not a Muslim. It never made them want to be less of a Muslim because I tried to wear hijab one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we
Yes.
fast together. We do the 40 days fasting. That's even the thing. Like we fast all together. I'm not a Muslim. But I fast with them. I go and break fast with them. In the morning, we break the fast. In the evening, with these people. But they are never offended. They're like, I love the way that even though you are Christian, there's certain tradition you maintain. And I love
Mhm.
that you appreciate what we do. I said, I love the charity you have in the Muslim culture. I love it. I want to
Yes.
do that too. But I'm a Christian. I will never want to be a Muslim. And I will never want you to be a Christian if it's not your will. I'll never force anybody to be what they don't want to be. You know what I mean? I come to that space of like, even if you had have different culture. I spoke with Arabic people. My best friend were even from the Middle East,
Yes.
but we were at peace. And they were like, there's something I love about you, Susie. You never judge. I'm like, because I'm not better. Who am
Mm.
I to even place and judge anybody? If you pray 10 times a day, perfect. I wish I could pray like that.
Mm. Mm.
And I honor that. If I can copy something from your culture, I will lovely copy it. And I'll make sure I tell you I'm copying it. I hope it's not offensive because I really like the way sometimes you put your eyeliner or your mascara, or maybe sometimes the way you talk. I was like, oh, I love that word. Can I take it? Can I just talk about it? And then you see how we are all happy in that space, even though we are from different culture that normally could not intervene.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That space for me is like, as you talk about it earlier, Renata, harmony. Harmony,
Yeah.
even in the religion, that goes far above culture. Like, if somebody is whatever the religion, the respect is the key because God did not tell us to forbid somebody to say the respect and the honor is like, I respect you. If
Yes.
you want to come to my religion, good and fine. If you don't want to, you are still the best in the way
Yes.
you are. And if we approach a lot of people like that, I think there's that space of like calmness, less depression, intimacy that can be established way
Yes.
above this traditional cultural appropriation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, the acceptance is a really big part of it. And again, being firm in who you are and what you know and your culture, your traditions, your beliefs. I think, again, like we've mentioned in so many previous episodes, it's about knowing yourself, being strong within yourself, and then knowing that whatever comes into your space, you have a choice about it, right? You take it in or you don't. You look at it, you explore it, and if it doesn't belong in your space, in your opinion, you don't take it on. It can, it's a really simplistic view, but I think if you approach things with that as your baseline thought, it helps to clear a lot of the muddy water that people sometimes have to swim through in this topic, right? So I'm going to, we've not got a lot of time left, but I want to hear from both of you. So we've flung around a few thoughts here about how this can be approached differently, how we can change the thinking. If there were kids in your space that you were trying to teach a better way of doing things about around culture and appropriation and acceptance of other people and how they do things and what they do, what would you be telling those kids? What would you be, being the role model, but what would your thinking process for this child be that you share with them?
I think mine will be to be open. I would always tell my children, anybody I meet, is that be open. The world is so much different than what the TV told us or what the people around us told us. Because everybody tell you according to their fear of understanding. There is much
Yes.
more outside there. Like that mindset. And also I would love my kid to travel.
Mm,
Travel and let yourself explore. There is
mm,
much more. There is much more than this little land that you know. There are much different people. Their colors are different. Their cultures are different. The way they talk, the way they speak. Be open minded. And
Yes.
if I think if any child gets that thing of like, if you don't know something, you're welcome to ask question. Don't
Yes.
assume because you don't know. Just ask question, and the person will. If the person doesn't want to talk, it's okay, but you tried. So just that open mind. I would like be open minded to learn and to teach others what you know. I think that's
Awesome. Thank
yeah.
you, Susie, for that. Renata, from your side?
Oh, I love what Susie said, and I completely agree. So I think it not just open your mind, but open your heart,
Mm,
because in the end of the day, I think this was one of the reason of our podcast, to show that we have much more in common than things that separate us. And I think this is it, like everybody deserve respect, every culture. There's no better or worst. It's just different. And
yes.
and it's so good. Like, can you imagine like having the same dish all the time? Like, oh my God, if we can explore different flavors, and
Yes.
isn't that wonderful? So I think I see culture as that, and music, and so many things that the difference of the culture bring to us. This it's so amazing. And I think the other, I would just add something what that Susie said. It's learning languages. I think it's also very great opportunity for people that can do it, because when we learn language, we understand um, the culture from inside, and we can listen to their music and read their books. I think even if the book is translated, it's not the same. Try to read in the original language, because you're going to, you know feel things different. Like
Yes.
I remember, like when food was good, for example, in Congo, that we have a very heterogeneous team. Like the French say, oh, ce n'est pas mal. How do you say ce n'est pas mal? So it's not bad. This is the best you can talk about this
Mhm,
wonderful food. And
Yes.
because it's part of their culture, so they use language in a different way.
mhm,
And
Right.
the Spanish people, they come with a lot of emotions to talk
mhm,
food, and some bad words too. And I was like, oh, it's so interesting to see. And I think that's, even talking the same language, we use different words in
mhm.
Yes.
depending on the culture. No, and
Yes.
we see someone from Africa speaking French and someone from Paris. Oh my goodness, it's another French.
It's really.
And
Yes.
it's the same French, but they use different words because it's more appropriate to their culture. And I think learning languages, I love it. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes.
I agree with
Oh,
you.
that's a really valid point, Renata, because like you said, I think the word you were trying to get to there is there are different nuances to every language, and that's what you want to be able to capture by learning that new language. So thank you, ladies. That was incredible. And apart from Renata stealing my closing line for the podcast, by reminding all our subscribers and viewers to the fact that we are here for that reason. We want to showcase the fact that as different as we are also so much more alike than we think. And if we just give, through these kinds of discussions, we give that thought process an opportunity to grow and to flourish, I think things will really open up for all of us as just a a world of humans rather than people from different countries or cultures, right? So thank you very much, Susie, Renata. Really good discussion today. And thank you, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share it, share the podcast you like, speak to us, ask us questions, add your opinions. We love to hear from you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
We're crossing oceans, crossing skies, lifting each other as we rise. No more limits, no more walls. Together we answer the world's calls. We're without borders, we are free, telling the stories of humanity. No more divide, we stand as one. Together, together, our journey's begun.